my friends, Jacob is here once again. Thank you for pressing play. And so many new people pressed play. Oh, what a gift. I'm so happy you're here. Oh, you're going to have so much fun. So much going on. And it's exciting. You see, if you're new, I'm going to explain this to you very simply. I'm an author. I write things, and I look at the world kind of like a big treasure hunt, right? And I look at it like a big movie, and I look for, kind of see where things are going. So I kind of take these events that are playing out in the world, and I see like a deep spiritual significance to it, a deep message, a profound, incredibly undeniable message. It's so undeniable that after the end of today's program, you may have a problem doubting that there's more to life, there's more to you, and that there is a God, a creator that is in charge, very much in charge of everything that's going down. Even things that seem so scary, but it's trying to tell us something. It's trying to tell us a deeper meaning. There's something hidden within the names and situations, and that God reveals the truth. On the program, I've talked many times about the meaning of names and how important names are, like Joseph, Mary, and Jesus. Each name has a meaning. Joseph means God is added. Mary means man's rebellion. God is added to man's rebellion. Yahshua means salvation. Yahshua was from Nazareth, one separated from the world, so God is added to man's rebellion and saved them and separated them from the ways of the world. Names have meaning. When Lot was taken away, Lot means veil. The veil has to be taken away for the duality, the twin wicked cities, to be torn down. If you take the tribes of Israel, the 12 tribes, everyone has a name, right? Reuben, Jacob's firstborn. Simeon, the next. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan. If you put them all together, you see, the trick is putting them in order from firstborn to lastborn. But you see here, a paragraph starts to form. Behold, the Son hears, joins, gives praise. Listen to this, because it's about you. Behold, the Son hears and joins to give praise to a judge, wrestling to enter into a troop, to pronounce them happy, to reward and exalt those God has added to the Son of the right hand. It's actually the story of all of us, the Israelites, if you will. We're gathering the lost tribes, right? A lot of people say that we're like the tribe of Israel here. I'd like to say that I believe, because, you know, you could be grafted into. You don't have to be Jewish. A lot of people ask me if I'm Jewish. I'm Italian and Irish. You couldn't tell? From Strong Island. My goodness gracious. But who knows? Maybe back in Jeremiah's day, they were all over the place. And in the end, everybody's brought back together again. One happy family. Isn't that great? So I'm glad that you're here. By the end of the program, you're going to see that you should take nothing at face value. Like Jesus says, you understand how the weather's going by the signs. You're going to understand this by this trial. So I hope you're buckled up. My goodness, welcome back. My goodness, I have such a show about the blood moon, about comets that you're not even aware of, about so much stuff going with the UAE and robots and AI. It's such a great show. I was supposed to tape it today, but as I'm at the gym, it hits me. Rittenhouse thing that's going on now. I gotta tell you something, because I know people are you're all very firm in your beliefs, right? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I put a tweet out and someone reminded me that's not bad patriotism. And I said, don't worry, I'm going to explain it all later. It's okay to have one belief or another belief. The problem becomes when you hate the person with the other belief. But the problem is that the people that have the beliefs, right, the right and the left, the duality, right, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. A kingdom that is divided cannot stand. That's why the world's so messed up. Don't you get it? But it's all being done on purpose. It's all being done on purpose, very deliberately. That's what some people can say. some people may say. I see it being done that way. It's easier. It's easier, especially if you're corrupt. Manipulated people, deceived people. That's not me. That shouldn't be you. That's not you. Even if at times we make mistakes, but it's not you. So you have to understand something. I'm not making a political statement by saying this. I'm just telling you what I believe God is trying to say through this. I tweeted this out, okay? And this is all going to make sense, and it's all going to come together, and it's all going to have a beautiful little bow on it. So stick with me. But I tweeted this out. God is always speaking. Hashtag Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Is the tragedy of a young man whose patriotism, I put in quotes, there's nothing wrong with being patriotic. I like where I live. I like my country. I like values that seem to be missing. Tragedy of a young man whose patriotism encouraged him to carry a weapon, because that's his right. A supporter of Donald Trump, 2024, Donald Trump back in the day. Is it any wonder Rittenhouse literally means those belonging to the swamp? Interesting. And then I said, don't blame the young man. Don't blame the men on either side of the coin, because both names mean something on either side of the coin. My friend Truth or Justice on Twitter, one of the family members here, he and I, or she and I don't know who you are really, but I'm grateful that you're seeing things. We're sharing things back and forth as I was formulating the show. Names have meaning.
Users can be seen flashing the OK sign, which has been co-opted as a sign.
What this whole thing is spelling out is it's not good for the world system, okay? Because that's really what the problem is. It's this beast system. That's why, you know, I told people you'll be seeing 666 all the time, and then like for the last couple of months all you do, because God is revealing it. He's showing everybody. He's telling you this is what's happening. Pay attention, because these things don't come together by accident. Wait till you see what I saw at the gym earlier. Inspired to share this. So here you have this young man from the swamp. Now, why am I connecting this to, I'm not saying this about Donald Trump, but there's a strong connection there, okay? I don't know this young man's political affiliation, but I do know that he was making a statement by going out there and, you know, God forbid any of my children ever did that, right? God forbid, because it's and Jesus teaches this, because a lot of people think that you know, this is, it's okay if you're a Christian to do such a thing. But Jesus taught, and there's nothing wrong with protecting yourself. Listen, there's nothing wrong with, I personally don't have any weapon that can kill somebody without using my hands. You know, I have a bow and arrow too. I used to teach archery, believe it or not. I'm really good with that bow. But I'm not making a statement. You want to have guns? Hey, whatever, right? As long as you don't go out looking for trouble with it. Not saying that the young man was doing that. But when you're carrying that around, that's intimidating. That's intimidating. And the other one, doing the same thing. They all have these guns. They all come. What is going on? What is going on? Well, it's the idea that you've been given the right to do this. And you should do this. Otherwise, you lose the right. Now, maybe that's true. But what I'm seeing is something very, very different. I'm seeing something very, very different. Now, Kyle Rittenhouse is from a place called Antioch. It's interesting. I don't know, once again, if Kyle Rittenhouse is a Christian, but I would think probably, I would guess. Antioch is where the very first Christians that's where they call themselves Christians. Antioch. They called themselves Christians. They called themselves Christians. Before that, they didn't have a name. Okay? There was no label. Jesus didn't call himself a Christian, but at Antioch they did. At Antioch they said, hey, we're going to slap a label on this. And this is the way things are going to be. And if you're not part of this label, you got a problem. Right? Right? How many people are you? You're a Christian. Okay, whatever. You have a problem because someone's a Muslim. You got a problem because somebody's a Jew. You got a problem because somebody doesn't believe. Right? Labels, they divide us. This is all going somewhere, okay? And I'm not trying to, call you out. Because I'm not. Just because you call yourself a Christian or a Muslim doesn't mean you're a bad person. Doesn't mean you've made a mistake. But once again, labels divide. They divide. When you have a ruling class, right, like the Roman Empire, which ironically, this is what was going on back in the day. As I read this in the book of Acts. The Roman Empire, the empire, right? Caesar. How many times is Trump compared to Caesar? Antioch, it's interesting. It's very interesting. What's more interesting is that at this place, the prophets gathered around Jerusalem. At this place, those that were declaring themselves to be Christian, exercising their rights, the prophets were gathering around Jerusalem, and they were saying, there's going to be something bad. There's going to be a great dearth in the land. Okay? It's time that everybody help each other. And that's where this message is going. It's going to be undeniable, you'll see. But each name means something. Ironically, Kyle, it's Gaelic, Scottish Gaelic, right? You know what it means? The straight and narrow path. Isn't that interesting? Straight and narrow. Kyle means straight and narrow. Interesting. Antioch is where the Christians were first. All of a sudden you see Christians walking the straight and narrow. But do you know what Rittenhouse means? This is interesting, because this is going to tie into videos I did a while ago before the election when everybody thought Trump was going to win like a landslide because the media showed you that nobody cared about Biden. They were showing you all the events with the circles and no one was there. So of course when he's the most popular president in the world, right? If that really happened, I don't know, I don't care. That's what the world is saying is happening. But it was played out so that you would be outraged if you had a label and you were geared towards another side. The whole time I think it's all connected. I'm just saying, the Roman Empire is still around today. They're just starting to now gather it together behind who really is the grand puppeteer. DC and all that area was built on a swamp. It's interesting, a marsh, if you will. It was built on it. Actually, new types of leeches were discovered. I talked about on the show. in DC, which is right before the tax plan came out. That's another note. You see everything kind of playing out. Well, do you know what Rittenhouse means? Rittenhouse literally means the people who are of the family of the swamp, the people who are rooted in the marsh, the people that come from the swamp. Interesting. It's interesting. I had a dream about Donald Trump. You're new to the channel, you didn't notice, right? I talk about things sometimes that say, well, I had a dream, I want to tell you it's important. I don't know if it's important, but once again, the scriptures say that God speaks to you in dreams. It spoke to many of the prophets. Joseph said, hey, get out of town, right? Get out of town. They're coming for the Christians. Right after his census. A couple of years afterwards, about 3 years afterwards, it's happening. That's actually what happens at the end of them declaring themselves to be Christians in Antioch. They start hunting for you, start coming for you. That's interesting because Orion is the hunter, is rising right now. I had this dream before the results were in, right before the election. And in this dream, I was carrying a coffin of Trump and it was covered in swamp moss. And then on the other side was dancing and having a good old time. And I came on here and I told you, I don't know if it means anything, but I don't think Trump's going to win. Pretty sure he's not gonna. And I think that, don't worry, because he's going to be back in power. And I did say in the video back then that maybe he was in on it, but maybe not, maybe not. I don't know. I can't paint. See, everybody gets so touchy because you all got these labels and you all got these, these beliefs and these alliances that you don't want them to be wrong. Day of the Lord is a scary day. It's like the tree is laid to it's like everything you believe, there's an axe to it. And you put all your faith in a certain guy. He's your guy. This is your system. You love it and you believe it's going to set you free. And then you find out you're a victim of more bondage. And how would they do that? Well, they would do that by robbing you. And then they do it by creating a new system that's so much worse and then giving you back all everybody's going to be like, yeah, sure, we don't need rights anymore because you're the guy. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's spooky, right? Because that belief system is what instigated this young man to, these riots were going on. I'm going to go do something. Maybe his intentions were good. I don't know how intentions could be good if you bring a weapon that could kill somebody to anything. I'm opposed. I got to be honest, I'm opposed. If you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Jesus was so clear. And yet there were Christians that they're Christians, they'll carry their guns to protect everybody, right? Then you got a paramedic on the other side, the other guy, right? The guy that in the trial, like basically said, yeah, I pointed it at him first. Kind of like sets the what are you doing with a gun? His name was Gage. 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 You know what Gage means? It means a pledge, an oath. Like we take this oath. And you know what his last name means? It's Grosskreutz. Grosskreutz, Gage Grosskreutz. His last name means Great Cross. You took an oath to the Great Cross. You got Kyle Rittenhouse. You're supposed to walk the straight and narrow path. The people of the swamp. You put it all together and you got something very interesting. So you have this guy, this paramedic, someone who is supposed to help others. You took an oath. The Great Cross, the Great... took an oath to the great cross. And you're carrying a gun. You're supposed to be helping people. The great doctor, Christ, mighty healer, paramedic, also carrying a gun. Both sides of the coin. Both believing that they're doing the right thing in their heads. One far too young to really make, I think, even significant true decisions. The other still, I think, today, so young, 27. Now, here's where it gets really weird, is that when you put them all together, this is what you get. The pledge of the great cross to walk the narrow path was given to the people who were rooted in the swamp. The pledge of the great cross, the pledge that you took, the pledge of the great cross to walk that narrow path was given to the people of the swamp. Marshlands, swamps. Do you know that my last name, my stepfather adopted me. My first father took off. He was gone. He hit the bricks. And when I was a baby, left me in a crib. Story goes, in little projects. Took everything. So story goes. Never met the guy. But I got his ashes. Met a bunch of other brothers that I have. I suppose we have a sister out there too. So, you know. And he died recently. But my mother got married again. She was a young mom. She was 18 when she got pregnant with me. She married my stepfather, and his last name, you know what it means? Swamp. Swampish. But that wasn't my last name. I find it interesting. Because when you're in the swamp, what are you doing? Right? You're sinking. You're sinking into the earth. You're sinking into the ways of the world. So what is this message that I'm trying to get across today? What does this mean to me? What it means to me is, the story is you're being told right in front of you. It's being told right now, the people of the swamp, judgment's coming. There's a judgment coming for you. Doesn't seem like it's going to be as harsh as it could be, but maybe we need to get our house in order. Maybe in the next program you'll see why, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the heavens right now that lends to that. It's always a good time to be a good person. It's always a good time to love others. I'm telling you, there's great joy. I had another show. And then boom, here's this. Just given to me. Just with a thought. And then boom, I'm looking into it. And then I post something on Twitter. And then somebody else posts something on Twitter. And then all of a sudden, by the way, if you're not following me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. And I just started uploading, no one even knows, on TikTok. I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm told that that's the place for the youngsters. Because I'm so hip. The pledge of the great cross to walk that narrow path was given to the people rooted in the swamp. But are they listening? Are they listening? We shall see. Okay, so Antioch. Here we go. Let me read this to you. This is Acts 11. This is by the way, Acts 11. This would be what's going on right now. The disciples, right? The world right now is being gathered together. This one elite power, and they're in charge everywhere. The religious system is going to start to it's becoming very important again. It's starting to take hold. We have the Abrahamic house. Everybody's coming together as one. And they're going to be hunting down people, right? That are outside of whatever we deem to be true. The disciples were called Christians first at Antioch. During this time, that was the place where, right, Kyle, Rittenhouse. During this time, some prophets came down from Jerusalem to Antioch. One of them, named Agabus, stood up and through the Spirit predicted severe, right? With the two eclipses, there's these two eclipses. I have programs on all this stuff. Great American Eclipse, 7 years between them. Said about halfway through, it was going to get hard. We're about halfway through, and it's getting hard. It's going to get even harder towards the end. People are declaring themselves to be Christians in Antioch during this time. The prophets came down from Jerusalem. By the way, Jerusalem means the teaching of peace, so it doesn't have to be a literal place. prophets came down from a place where they teach peace. And they come down to Antioch, where the Christians are, where they first declared themselves to be. One of them, named Agabus, stood up through the Spirit, predicted a severe famine would spread over the entire Roman world. This happened during the reign of Claudius. The disciples, each one was able, decided to provide help for brothers and sisters living in Judea. Judea means to praise. When you're praising God even in the midst of the storm. So at this time, when this world system comes in, a terrible drought and famine comes upon the land, the brothers and sisters got together that they were living in Judea in a place of praise. This they did. We're all coming together. And they sent their gifts to Barnabas and Saul. And of course, there's like all of these instances where the disciples are arrested and they have this miraculous escape. And who's to say that that happens? I don't know. I just know that a mighty army is standing up. I know that the Spirit of the living God has been poured out into the world. So at 11:11, Revelation 11:11, after 3.5 days, it's been 3.5 days from that September 23rd, Revelation 12 sign, 2017. It's time. It's time. So, there you have it. There's the prophetic meaning. A great famine's coming. And it's all connected. Don't buy into the system, please. Not if it's going to make you hate another person. Let God sort it out. God will sort it out. But if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Look what happened. If he never brought that gun out, would he be on trial today? I don't think so. So why don't we love each other and do the same? Why don't we love each other and forgive each other and have hope and joy, because things are about to get even better. I love you. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that little bell and leave me a comment. Like it. Hit me up, please, on Telegram so I can, I can tell you when the video's coming out, so it helps the algorithm. Share these videos with other people. I want to thank so many new people that are here. I really appreciate it. So many of you going around, and I see you in the comments going from one video to another video, and leaving, and it's like, man, it's like, it's the time, right? The time. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, I'm in Daddy's set. This is a short. Subscribe, like, and share. Bye.
Click it.